What is the definition of happiness? Happiness is a complex emotional state characterized by feelings of joy, satisfaction, contentment, and fulfillment. It is often described as a positive mental attitude that arises from experiencing pleasurable moments, achieving personal goals, building meaningful relationships, and maintaining a sense of purpose and well-being. Happiness can be vary greatly from person to person and is influenced by individual circumstances, personality traits, life experiences. It encompasses both short term emotions and long term states of well beings. What's up, everyone? This is Fit for Business with me, Jarod Lehn. If you could do us a favor, if you're watching on YouTube for the very first time, and go ahead and tap that subscribe button, or if you're listening on Spotify for the very first time, tap that follow button. Welcome to episode 29. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the owner and founder of Socialtopia, a social media marketing agency based out of Monroe, New York. We've been in business now for over 6 years now. Our agency primarily partners with fitness entrepreneurs and home service professionals, helping them elevate their brand and achieve their marketing goals. So I believe that everyone at their core desires happiness. Our guest on today's episode is dedicated to helping those who may have lost their way in their pursuit of happiness to find their path once again. Many people have different philosophies on what true happiness is and how to achieve it. Holly Smith, author of 30 Days to Happiness, argues that internal happiness and joy stems from habits we cultivate and maintain daily. She believes that habits form the foundation of any type of change, whether physical, mental, emotional, or behavioral. Holly, welcome to the pod.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. We're excited to have you here as well. Holly, if you could do us a favor and just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Totally. Well, my name is Holly Smith. My actual real name is Holly Patton because I'm married, but
Okay,
not
there
many
you go.
people know that. Yeah, I'm the author of 30 Days to Happiness. It's a book that I wrote when I was after I went through a depression in my teenage years. These were the habits that pulled me out of that depression. And then again, when I got burnt out, I got so burnt out when I was working in the real estate industry that I couldn't walk for 4 weeks. So again, they were the foundational habits that pulled me out of that burnout phase that I was in, and I continue to use on a daily basis. They're like my first aid kit. Those habits I can pull out of my first aid kit whenever I need them. Most of them are like, I do unconsciously now because they've become a habit. But they're the foundational habits that will help anyone to just live a happier life, but also build a really, amazing business as well.
Hmm. Would you be able to like share a pivotal moment from maybe your entrepreneurial journey where you faced significant setbacks and how you might have overcome those?
Totally. So I guess in my entrepreneurial journey, if I go back to the first, there's been so many, because when you're an entrepreneur, the highs and lows are constant. They will never stop. That is being an entrepreneur. Everyone has different perspectives of like the entrepreneur life. Um, like so many people say, oh, it's so tough, it's hard, it's not for the faint-hearted. But it's also like gives you so much freedom to make your life easier all at the same time.
Mm.
So if I think back to like one of the toughest times was definitely when I was back in like when I was working in the real estate industry. I was working these really long days and I really wasn't. I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. Like both my parents were entrepreneurs. Like just
Oh,
I
no
was
way.
a born and bred entrepreneur. Like I had to be.
What'd your parents do?
Oh, lots of things. So typical entrepreneurs, like my dad, he's always had companies and roofing companies, and then he would flip and sell houses, and then he would start a new like he had a bar and restaurant, and then my mom, she had like, she built a cleaning business, then she had a swim school, and then she had skincare, and now she's a life coach. Like they just have done so many things. So,
I love
you
it.
know, I guess I love the freedom that it provides. But if I look back, I was working as like I was pretty much running a whole entire office, like a real estate office. And I thought I wanted to go into real estate industry like after school, and I was in there for a few years. And then I wanted to become PT, but at the same time, like I wasn't earning enough money. So I actually got a PT job. I'd wake up at like 3:30 in the morning, start my first job as a PT, and then I'd work a 9 to 5. I would door knock like for hours, cold call for hours. Like I would run the office, like do everything. And then in the afternoon, more PT, and then I go to the gym myself, and then I get back to bed. And it was just like I was on a rat wheel, and I think I was distracting myself from my own reality and
Mm.
the relationship I was in, and just trying to make everyone else happy as well. And I remember driving, and I was like, I'm going to thank myself for this one day. I'm going to thank myself for this one day. And the good thing was I learned a lot about myself. I bought a new car. It was all great. But from that, I got so burnt out that I had a disc slip in my lower back. My
Mm.
joints and my body like literally gave way. So still to this day, because of what I put my body through, I still have back issues, which will
Mm.
probably be ongoing forever. So this is just a really good eye-opening, I guess, moment for anybody. If you are on the verge of burnout, or you feel like you need to rest or in fight or flight mode, sooner or later, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health will deteriorate unless you
Mm.
intervene, right? So unless you intervene and do something about it. So I was bedridden at Christmas time for like 4 weeks, couldn't walk, felt sorry for myself, and I was like, well, I can't keep doing this. So I built those habits,
Wow.
to like, still work good quality hours, but do it more productively, do it better, look after myself. And then from then, yeah, I've never gone burnout since.
So yeah, let's talk to that. So 4 weeks of like just you're saying like severe like anxiety and depression. I guess it sounds like more
Yeah,
during that time
it
period.
was, yeah, so 4 weeks I couldn't walk because my physical back like gave way to me. So I was literally just laying in bed, just feeling sorry for myself. Like I'm a
Mm.
go-getter, always exercising, always in the gym. This is
Sure.
quite a long time ago now.
So
But
that
yeah,
was kind of like a dark place in your life, I guess, at that point, right? For somebody
yeah,
that's
it
like so
was.
ambitious, a go-getter, like into fitness, always constantly on the move, and you're just I've been there, so I kind of know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, definitely. It was definitely like the emotions that I have experienced before when I was in
Mm.
that time. Um, because back when I was in my teenage years, like I got so depressed where like, I was very suicidal. Like every day I wanted to die pretty much. I just hated being alive. And then one day I just like prayed to God, and I was like, take away this pain, or I'm like literally gone tomorrow. I just can't handle it anymore. And by the grace of God, I woke up the next morning and I had no suicidal thoughts ever again. Still a journey, obviously, to heal from the trauma and everything that I've gone through. But that's why I wrote the book, 30 Days to Happiness.
So this stems off of my initial question. So it sounds like you have a lifeline in your blood of entrepreneurs, speaking of your mom and your dad. So then you were at a time and a place where I guess it sounds like you were like in a rut when it comes to your career, right? You're at this all-time, hey, something's got to give, right? At which point inspired you to start your journey in the world of business? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, totally. So I was like, I just wasn't happy, Like I think a lot of us, like, we know the answer within, we're just not listening to it because we're in fight or
Mm.
flight. And I quit my real estate job. I quit that other job and I started my own business. So I'd like drive to people's houses and train them. I was a mobile PT, did that for a few years. Started getting a little bit burnt out again, just because of the hours I was working. And it was great, like, good money, and I enjoyed it, but there was a lot of driving and it wasn't sustainable. Then I thought, I'd never heard about online personal training. I was like, what the heck is that? Is that even a thing?
What year,
And I did
what year was that? Do you remember?
2019,
Okay.
I think, or 18. Can't
Okay.
remember.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I'm
it
just
was
curious.
2019. I
Okay.
think it was at the end of 2018, 2019. I was like, what the heck's online personal training? Anyway, so I saw a Facebook ad. I don't know if you know Chris Dufay. He had Fitness Cartel at the time, and I applied for their program not knowing what online personal training was. And he was a fit pro, so he'd help online personal trainers grow and scale their business. So I booked a call with this guy, and he's like, hey, yep, this is what you do, this is what it is, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, this is the investment. And I was like, no, absolutely no way. That's a lot of money. Anyway, and then I really thought about it. And then he called me back. And I'm thankful to this day for that sales guy calling me back. he's like, do you want to be waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to knock on someone else's door to wake them up and train them? Do you want to be doing that forever? And I was like, nope. And then I signed up. So that was a really great like mastermind to start my official online coaching journey. And I guess from that it was perfect timing because it was in during COVID. Just as COVID started, I just
Yeah.
started my business. And then within 12 months, I actually went on LinkedIn, had a friend, he had a bit of a strategy, wanted to test it. And we grew my following to 65K and I built a six-figure business just in 12 months during COVID on LinkedIn. So that was kind of like my foundation in the online coaching world.
That's an interesting timeline and approach. I love it. Yeah, thank you for sharing. It's going to be interesting to hear what people have to say, like, about just learning about, like, how you experienced learning about online coaching back when, it's been around for some time, but like in 2018, 2019, and you're just trying to get into the
Yeah.
industry. You're like, hey, what is this? And then like obviously the powers of social media that have been there. And for you to be able to grow your following on LinkedIn in that short of a time period is like a pretty huge milestone. It doesn't happen, as you probably well know, and I know being in the industry. Um, so how would you say, like, we all know life's a roller coaster. Being an entrepreneur, entrepreneurship is a roller coaster itself. How
Mm.
has that ride in the roller coaster of entrepreneurship influenced your approach to, maintaining your healthy lifestyle, through your fitness practices?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time entrepreneurs have an all or nothing approach, myself included. Like it
Mm,
took me so long, even with my diet, my exercise, my business growth, everything, my routine. It was all or nothing for such a long time that, I would go all or nothing with my diet and then I would lash out and, it was just a yo-yo. Same with my business. I would go 100%, really strict with my routine, doing all the things I need to do. And then I would just, feel like my life was falling apart because nothing was working, right? And that was just because I was in fight or flight mode.
So, how would you say you go about viewing fitness as a valuable tool, to
Yep.
build resilience and mental fortitude in
Okay, yep.
entrepreneurship?
Yeah, well, fitness itself is like the foundation. I truly believe. Like even like I have a friend who says this all the time. He's like, it's the foundation to everything. It's the foundation to your energy, fitness, and your own well-being. Healthy well-being is like the foundation for your mental health. It's the foundation for your focus, your productivity, your sleep. Stems from your, eating really well for the day. Like if you're not exercising, you're not moving your body, and obviously grateful that you can, I think like you're missing out on a really large opportunity to reach high performance and
Hmm.
actually scale that business or even reach a new potential within yourself.
I'm really interested to hear your answer and response to this question. So they often say happiness is a state of mind. Can you
Mhm.
elaborate on what this really means?
Yeah. So this is the way I like to explain it is that, happiness is like the state of being or the state of mind. Joy
Mm,
is the feeling you get from happiness. So if you want to be more happy, how can you experience more joy in your life?
mm,
What brings you joy? For me, it's riding my horses, spending time with my family, doing creative things, coaching my clients,
mm,
doing the things that I guess you have less resistance to because it is in alignment with your vision, your purpose, the reason you're here on this earth. That's really what I believe. Like whatever brings you joy, whatever comes to mind, you need to do more of those things because it will reframe the way you think about things and the way you see the world. Because if you're constantly in a rut or you're constantly in a workflow or a work mode or, just go, 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 you miss out on all the other opportunities that might be coming your way because your nervous system isn't relaxed, but you're not experiencing joy. When you experience joy, your vibration is a lot higher, which means you're a lot happier and you're
mm.
more receptive to manifesting the things that you actually want for your life.
That was a phenomenal answer, by the way. I
Thank you.
I wasn't expecting to hear that retort. So a great answer. And then to segue off of that, how old were you, excuse me, when you started riding horses or going horseback riding? Have you been
Ooh,
doing it since you were like
since
four or
I
5 years
was
old?
Yeah, 1 year old. We've got a
Really?
photo of me on a horse at 1 year old. Yeah. My whole life. My goal was to go, 2018 or 2020. I can't remember. Yeah, my goal was to go to the Olympics for show jumping. But again, entrepreneurial me when I was in my like childhood and early teenage years, I was like, training and breaking horses in and selling them. And, like that was like my life. That was my hobby. So pretty much like I got two when I was 16. I had two horses like pass away and then we moved off acreage and my whole life turned upside down and there was no purpose because my horses were my purpose. It was the reason the Olympics was the reason I was gonna, you know, make it and that's what I wanted. I just loved it. I felt alignment. It was my outlet as well with my mental health outlet. A lot of people have sport and I was always into fitness, but after that, like I just got super depressed. And at the time, like I was only 16, so it's not like I could afford horses are a very expensive sport. So
I bet.
like yeah, so it was just a single mom and me really. And yeah, my whole life was taken, it felt like it was taken away from me.
Mm,
Um, and that's when I got, yeah, put on like 10 kilos, got really depressed, hated school, just, yeah, wasn't thriving. But yeah, it's such a big part, I guess, of my story and my life that to me, an image of a horse represents authenticity, which is one of my core values.
mm,
And it's really interesting because I also have like this is my sign that I'm on the right track. A little bit off topic, but this is my sign that I'm on the right track because I'll ask God, the universe, that for a sign that I'm on the right track, and generally it will be well, I pick my own sign, and it's an aeroplane riding in the sky. I don't know what you call it, but aeroplane riding, and usually it's one going straight up. Anytime I see that, I know I'm on the right path, and I ask for that sign. It's really interesting. So,
huh.
yeah.
That's intriguing to me. Anytime you see a plane and it's flying up, you're on the right path.
Mhm.
Huh.
But yeah, some people have different, like some people have it like if they see an owl or if they see a type of bird or if they see a flower or you can pick your own sign. But
Mm.
that's been really helpful when you're like, am I on the right path? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing?
So now, not to get like philosophical with you, but like, do you feel that also can be in comparison to like deja vu, or would you not compare the two to deja vu, or would that be a similar feeling to?
It's funny you say that because there was probably once or twice where it felt that way, but not
Hmm.
really.
Okay.
It's a sense of have you ever felt so in alignment with what you're doing that you almost feel high? That's
True.
how in alignment and how like content you feel. That's the feeling that I get when I know I'm in alignment. And that's
Mm.
probably the best way to explain it.
Yeah, no, it's a great way to explain it. So, staying on the track of entrepreneurship and running a business and the demands, how do you and fitness, right? That's what we love to talk about here on the pod. How do you
Yeah.
balance those demands of entrepreneurship with a consistent fitness routine, and what benefits do you see in those integrations?
Mm. It's really interesting and it just came to my mind, but I was listening to one of Alex Hormozy's workshops and
Okay.
one of the questions that someone asked him was, oh, like when do you work out? When's the best time for you to work out? And you could tell that the person asking it was struggling to be consistent with working out and when he should do it. And when I thought about that question, I was like, it's just second nature to me. I just do it. And same with Alex. He's like, oh, I just work out at this time and I do this every day. And that's just it. It's just, I enjoy it, second nature. But a lot of the time, a lot of us don't enjoy, like, some people don't enjoy exercising. So I think you've got to find what you enjoy doing. If it's swimming, if it's walking, if it's, you know, doing it with a friend, meeting someone at the gym for accountability. Um, you got to do something you enjoy. If it's running, if it's, Pilates,
Right.
otherwise it's just feel like another thing you have to do and it's going to feel like work. You don't want to have to do more work.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree with you. I love working out. I love training. I love fitness. It's something that's instilled upon me. Some say I work out too much. I don't know, whether it's 5 days a week, 7 days a week. During, Monday through Friday, the business hours, my schedule is blocked off like in the afternoon from 12 to like 1:30, and that is for fitness. Maybe it's too
Yeah.
much. I don't know. Some may argue, but that's what I need to do it's what makes it's my zen. It's like it's what gets me going. It's what gets me like, all right, maybe I had like an off day. I hit the gym, I go do a rucksack, I go for a trail run or a hike. I'm like, it reframes my state of mind and that just gets me like, boom, good to go.
Feels so good, doesn't it? And I can totally relate to that. And I think, I don't know about you, but to me, it's like me time. I put my headphones in, like it's me time. I get to look after myself. I get to listen to something I want to do, especially when you've got kids and you've got a business and you feel like you've got to meet a lot of other people's needs all the time. I think it's a
Mm,
really nice way for you to just come into your own ecosystem, listen to them. You do what you want to do, just for like an hour. Plus, it's not just that, you reap all the amazing, endorphins and all the benefits from exercising as well.
absolutely. It's interesting you just related to being a parent, which is going to segue me into my next question. So, as a working parent, Holly,
Mm.
would you say, I know what you were going to say, but I want to hear your thought on this. Is it selfish to prioritize and invest time in building a healthy lifestyle for you?
Yeah. I think as a mum, you can feel like it is a selfish thing to do
I want to talk
because
about that
you
too,
feel
for
like,
sure.
yeah, because you feel like internally you feel like you should. And this is like the have to, should do, want to do,
Right.
need to do, categories. I feel like I should always be there for my daughter. I should always give her attention 100%. I should do, I should have dinner on the table ready for my family. Um, but you know what I also should do? And you know what I also have to do? If I want to fill everyone else's cup up, I have to fill my own up first. So I should really look after myself and make it a priority.
I agree.
And if I do it as a have to and as a non-negotiable rather than a should, and make it a habit, it's a lot easier.
Hmm.
And not just something you want it to be a part of your life as like you want to do it. And it's not until you actually do it that you want to do it because you see the benefits from it. It's almost like, you start going to the gym, you don't see any results, but then you keep going and you look in the mirror, you realize you've lost weight and you want to keep going. It's the same with your mental health and your emotional health. There's only so much energy that you can give to every area of your life. It's impossible to be perfect in
Man,
every single area. So if you could do something for yourself and fill your cup up before you fill everybody else's cup up, I can tell, like for me personally, I need my alone time. Like meaning not with other people, but just me and nature. Like if I don't get that, I'm grouchy, I'm reactive, and I feel like my nervous system is like up here. I'm just like fight or flight. And that's just, I know myself. And the more you know yourself, the more you know what you need. And for me personally, it's I need to change my environment often. Always been like that. Don't know why. The second thing is I need my alone time
hmm.
away. And sometimes as a parent as well, like you feel like you can't have that alone time all the time. Especially if like my daughter has been sick all week and then I got sick and I was like, it's just a lot. And you just have to just give yourself grace, take a step back and say, this is what it is right now. And I'm just gonna go with the roll with the punches. I don't have to be perfect right now.
So coming back to the working parents, specifically mothers, moms,
Yeah.
you're a working mom, you're a business owner. This is something that I can relate to. And can you explain to me from your perspective why, as a working parent, as a mom, why is it not selfish for moms to invest in themselves and take time to get that alone time and be active and be fit and want to have a healthier lifestyle? Because at the end of the day, my thought process is if you are not able to take care of yourself, how much longer do you think you will be there for your children?
Mm. Yeah, and that's like the best answer to that question. It's honestly like if you don't do it now and make it a priority, for so long, I didn't think it was possible. The newborn baby and a business and a
A
family to
lot.
look after. I didn't think it was possible. And honestly, I ended up blaming my daughter for the reason my business wasn't growing and for the reason I wasn't where I wanted to be. And
Really?
I didn't know that until I woke up one day and I was like, man, I haven't been taking any kind of ownership for myself. And, you know, I can do whatever I want to do. I've just got to make it happen, right? If I want to go get a massage and get my nails done, in my head, you know, I could say, that's not possible. It's absolutely possible. I've just got to be freaking organized and make sure we get it happening. Got to go call someone to look after her, ask my husband. You know, there's always a way to achieve something. And I think a lot of the time, like as a mom, as a parent, like we feel like we're stuck. Absolutely not. And it's just a mindset. I felt stuck for so many months until I woke up one day and I was like, just a revelation. So yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying 100%. And it's definitely not selfish to take care of yourself first. Because one day what will happen is like your mental health will just come crashing down and you won't
Yeah.
be able to deal with the reality anymore. So yeah, that's just what I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole because, I'm a man and I know, I think it's ingrained. I think it's just ingrained into women in general, moms, right? The
Yeah.
DNA. It's like, hey, I'm a mom first,
Yeah.
and then I come second. But so
Yeah.
when the topic of success comes to mind, who do you think of and why?
That's a really great question. I think I had someone say this to me a little while ago, and I'm really inspired by Ed Milet. Like, I've actually got a photo of him right in front of me because I want to be on his podcast one day. Like, I'm just really inspired. Like, I love his authenticity. I love what he stands for. I love his just who he is as a person. Again, yeah. So I think, okay, well, I want to be like this person. I love that this person is successful. How can I be like them? But
Hmm.
I had someone say to me once, and I don't even know who it was. I think it might have just been one of those random conversations that you have with someone on LinkedIn and they just tell you what you need to hear at the right time.
Hmm.
And I think it was a she. Yeah, she said to me, um, you are your own success. Like you define your own success, right? You don't need to look at anybody else for success. You create your own definition and kind of like was a bit of a slap on the wrist because it's fine obviously to look at others and be inspired. I think it's important because it gives you that inspiration. But if you don't know what success is in your own heart, then you're
Hmm.
never going to be truly satisfied if you're never living up to your own expectations.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't. I have a big smile on my face because I agree with you, and I think I came to that revelation.
Mm.
And I'll be quite frank, not that long ago. For a long time, I had a different mindset on what success really is,
Yeah,
and you kind of got a glimpse tonight, a few minutes ago, on like what success is for me, and success
yeah,
is those two little ones and like my family, and it's like
yeah.
you have like almost like a pie, right? Or
Mm,
if you want to call it like success. And for me, everything was like on the outside, including family at one point. But
yeah,
I came to terms, and again, it took me a long time. My kids are whatever ages, as you saw,
yeah,
and now they are in that center for me of that pie. So if I can have like a happy and healthy family, happy and healthy, and that's like the main
yeah,
thing for me.
yeah,
Everything else around that is success.
yeah. Was there some situation that happened in your life that flicked that switch for you?
I wish I could hit the nail on the head with that, but I will say that, this year at the beginning of the year, I did do the 75 hard program.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so I did do the 75 hard program, even although I was big into fitness, and I run my own business, I have the kids. For me personally, fitness is like, it's a priority. And it wasn't the fact that I didn't know if I could do it because I was going to do it. When I try to, I'm like most people, like when you try to do something and you set your mind to do something, you're going to do it. And I'm one of those people. But like when I started doing the program, I
Yeah,
started just having more mental clarity. And I
yeah,
continue to have that clarity to this day. And then, I was the person, I still do rucksacks. Like that was my outdoor thing, in the freezing cold, 10
yeah,
degree weather. I will admit that our winters have been kind of mild down here lately, but it was still cold.
Yeah.
But in that time period, you're trucking along, you're outdoors and like every day for, 75 days. It gives you time to think when you're not having your AirPods on or you're having conversations with people. So at some point that light bulb clicked for me and I was just like, shit, like this, you're trying to build this thing, this
Mm,
beast, right? You're trying to grow the business, trying to add more revenue, etc. But what's it for, right? I mean, even though,
yeah,
in the back of my mind, I know what it is for and what it's always been for, but true success and that's kind of like where I came up with that like epiphany.
that's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, no, for sure. I haven't shared it yet, so first to hear it. So we're big into, branding and storytelling, right? We're both, trying to create our podcast, grow our following, and we know what impacts social media has for brands in
Uh,
general. So, what role would you say brand storytelling plays in your marketing efforts? And how do you try to intertwine your personal experiences, from your entrepreneurial journey or fitness into that storytelling?
yeah, that's a really great question. I was explaining this to a client just before this podcast that whatever kind of content you put out there, that's what's really important how you write your content because those people that read it, that's who you're going to attract. The people that resonate with your pieces of content.
Hmm.
If you're sharing your story, you're your biggest testimony. So they're going to read your story and go, hey, I'm in that situation. How can I get out of that? Or how can I achieve this? And I think back, like, I used to be a bleach blonde hair personal trainer with really long hair, like drove a BMW who lived at the Gold Coast. That was my persona. Like, that's what I looked
Yeah.
like, right?
Uh-huh.
And, and then, I met my husband and I started going brown and I cut my hair and, I just had a more simple, chill life. And, like I used to compete in bodybuilding as well as I grew my businesses and it's a whole nother story. But now, like, I'm a mum, I look different. I'm just living a normal, happy, healthy lifestyle, like I've got nothing really to show, but that I am happy, I'm healthy, and I have an amazing work-life balance when it comes to building and scaling a business with a 1-year-old daughter, right? So
Hmm.
I think what I'm trying to say is that on LinkedIn specifically and on Instagram, my niche has changed so many times. Always worked with big individuals who wanted to put their health first. That was BizFit, my first business. So I did that, right? And then I merged into more accountability coaching. And then I've worked with so many different kinds of people. And I merged into business owners 2 years ago. And then I launched 30 Days to Happiness and this and that, right? So now, because of my journey, I can relate to parents. I can relate to, business owners, and I can relate to the chaos of life. So what do I do now? I'm now niching down into working with parents who have businesses, right? And helping them
So
manage everything.
Alex,
So,
Alex Hormozy would be proud.
oh yeah. Thanks. So yeah, like that's that's I guess my answer to that question. But the thing is like because my niche has changed so many times, like my engagement on LinkedIn used to be like sometimes 2 to 3 thousand likes on a post and over 100,000 impressions. That was normal for me. And now I'm like, I don't know, 10% of that.
Mm.
And I truly
Because
believe,
because because you have like a
yeah,
targeted client avatar, so it's
yeah,
only, resonating with those people.
yeah, that's exactly right. And I think a lot
Sure.
of the time as well, like when you change, like I changed like the way I wrote my content, I changed the way I looked as well. And that's the thing, like not everyone's gonna want to continue your journey if you change, right? Or even change your philosophy on things or change your perspective on life. A lot of people will unfollow you or not even read
Oh
your
yeah.
post. So it's very interesting. So yeah, I think branding has a huge part, but I think people can see right through it as well if you're fake or not, if you're using ChatGPT, if you're just copying what someone else is doing, like people can see your authenticity. So just whatever kind of content you're putting out there, just really think about that person you want to attract.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with your sure. So let me ask you a question. It's been kind of like a tipsy turvy type of road since 2020. We can all attest to that. Um, how do you go about staying adaptable in the face of market fluctuations on your side?
Mm, yeah, honestly, I'll be honest, like LinkedIn has changed so much over the last 2 years,
Oh my
right?
gosh, so much.
Um, and now the algorithms are changing again. Like they're thinking about putting an explorer page on LinkedIn. Like, this platform that once was just for corporate people and finding jobs is
Not
now,
so much.
like, I think I did so well on LinkedIn back in the day. It was because I was one of the first, personal trainers on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And I think, yeah, I've gone on topic now. What was the question?
uh, more or less, it was like, so when shit gets hard, how do you adapt?
Yeah.
No, it was like,
Yeah. Okay.
how do you stay adaptable in the face of market fluctuations?
Yeah. So I think as well, you got to like pick your platform, like 1 to 2 platforms max. Constantly stay up to date. You
Mm,
know, honestly, since having my daughter, I haven't been up to date with LinkedIn. Only little bits here and there. And in Instagram because it's constantly changing.
mm.
So staying up to date with what's working, what's not working, but just yeah, don't look at shiny objects. That's a huge one. Like there's so many shiny objects everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
More money here. Should I do crypto? Should I do this? Should I build an e-commerce store? Like there's so many things that you can do. But honestly, from the conversations I've had with people over the last week, they've all gone back to doing what they originally were doing. And I think about it like I always go back to what I originally were doing after looking at shiny objects for a little while. So yeah, that's why it's really important to have a really clear vision of what you want to achieve. If you stick to one platform, right, and build a really engaged audience on that platform, then when things, get hard and you have the highs and lows of success, it's going to be a lot easier. I think when you're at your lowest, though, it's really important to remind yourself to that you're not going to be there forever. It's not
Mm.
going to be there forever. Like even for me, when I have a really low week, I'm like, it's okay. I'm not going to feel like this forever. And it's just having that hope and that faith that it's going to get better soon. But not just hoping and faithing, like doing something about it also helps.
Do you have a book that you have consumed more than once? If so, what is it about that book that makes you drawn to it?
Yeah, so when I first started getting into personal development, the first book, it was actually great. One of Dean Graziosi's free
Mm.
books on Facebook. It was a Millionaire Success Habits, and I read that every single year for like 4 or 5 years. And not just read it, but I did all the action steps because honestly, that book was like one of the things that really helped me out of my depression as well
Mm.
when I was in my teenage years. So that was a really great book, and I loved it.
I love his attitude. Dean is so
Yeah,
charismatic. I haven't met him, but I feel just like by consuming his content, like I could just sit down, have a cup of coffee with him,
I know,
just
right?
shoot the breeze.
Yeah, like he's just always so positive, but also so real as well.
Oh yeah.
And charismatic would be the perfect word to
Oh yeah.
describe him.
I mean,
Um,
he hangs with some people, but other than that, I mean,
yeah.
he himself. Yeah, I mean, I haven't read that book. So this wasn't going to be one of my questions, but going back to a little bit ago, you said you did an Alex Hormozy workshop. So I was just curious, was that like in person, online?
I was just honestly, it was just one of his online ones I did
Okay.
ages ago.
And what
Yeah,
was
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Oh, ages ago?
Yeah, it was like few months ago now. You know, it
Oh,
was good. It was really good. Yeah,
yeah.
learn heap. Learn a lot about retention, especially because he's in school now. So my community's in school.
Are you
Um,
part of school?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no way.
So I have a school community. Yeah, I have a school community. I have since actually before Hormozy started promoting school. So instead it was just Sam Ovens. So yeah, no, I love school. I think it's a great platform. I moved my course over from Teachable to school because one, it's more affordable, two, it makes more sense, and three,
Mm.
I love the way that you can have everything all in one. Um, and yeah, so now I just kept my model super simple. It's school community, WhatsApp community. That's it.
Mm. When you're met with like failures or setbacks, how do you maintain that growth mindset? and apply those lessons learned to that experience.
Yeah, sometimes we keep pushing through and then we don't get anywhere. So I think taking a break and stepping back and going back to that initial plan. Like I've got this, like the other day, not other day, it was a few weeks ago. I was just feeling like super lost. I'll be totally honest. I was like just feeling super lost. I was like, is this the direction I'm supposed to go? Like,
Yeah.
with parents and this and that, and it makes a complete sense. Anyway, and then I read through this like prophecy that I got like probably 2 years ago, and I read through it and I literally just started crying, and I was like, okay, this is why I'm alive. Like this is my purpose. Anyway, and then it was a great reminder. So I think when you're at your lowest point, you need to get some revelation, get some rest, um, and go get some quiet time where you can think, go back to that initial vision and plan and purpose of your for your life. If you don't have one, you need to get one. We've got one in the happiness formula, and that's why it's one of the first modules people do. And then you can think, okay, well, where am I not in alignment? What do I need to start saying no to? What do I need to start saying yes to? Who do I need to
Mm.
cut out of my life because they're not serving me? And then you kind of just start analyzing like where you're at. Do I need to, put some more help self care days in my week? Do I need to get regular massages to make sure my body is prepped and performing well? Do I need to book meetings? Like for me, a big one was like, do I need to book meetings like after 8 a.m. and before 3 p.m.? So um, just analyzing those things that aren't bringing any happiness in your life and
Mm.
understanding why, and just kind of, I call it a reset. But you reset your calendar, you reset your routine, you reset your vision, your plan for the week. Yeah.
So let me, I guess, ask this question open and honestly.
Mm.
Do you find yourself, Holly, having a lot of like resets throughout the year normally?
Well, usually my resets are every quarter. So I intentionally do resets now. So I don't
Mm.
have an intervention and have to do a reset, right? So me and my mastermind, we get together every single quarter, like around Australia, wherever it is in whatever state. And we fly and we meet and we do strategic thinking, strategic planning. We do a full day of just focusing on our priorities. And if you read the book, The 12-Week Year, it's similar to that. It's like, all right, well, everything that you want to get it done in a year, let's get it done in 12 months. Not 12 months, sorry, 12 weeks. So
I got what
but
you're
in
saying.
a non-overwhelming way.
Mm.
So it's like, all right, let's remove all distractions and shiny objects and things that actually don't matter right now. And let's focus on those 1 to 5 priorities that do matter right now, that are going to move the needle forward. So yeah, every quarter I have a new reset anyway.
I love to ask this question, and I love to hear the responses that every guest poses.
Yeah.
So, for you, Holly, is there one core belief that you have that is constant no matter what?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to my mind is that your thoughts and your beliefs will determine your reality, right? Everything that you think, it triggers an emotion, then triggers a behavior response, then triggers
Mm.
an action. And it's like a big circle, an emotional cycle. Until you break that cycle, if it's in a negative cycle, you're going to keep feeling those negative feelings. You're going to keep feeling anxiety. You're going to keep feeling depressed. You're going to, feel like you're continuously going down, down, down until you have an intervention, right? Like maybe, I don't know, something happens like me where your body gives way because you're burnt out because you didn't listen to your body.
Mm.
Maybe someone in your family passes away and it makes you realize that life is short. Who knows?
It
So
is.
there's always a kind of an intervention that stops you in your tracks. Um, and for you to go back up, it's kind of like you need to remove yourself from that constant circle where you're going round and round and round and round. You need to remove yourself from the circle because you can't physically see other opportunities.
Mm.
You're so blinded by being attached to that one outcome. And
One outcome. Yeah.
when you're attached to that one outcome, it's almost impossible to see other opportunities. So that's why taking some time out for yourself, like we were saying before, is really important part of, seeing other opportunities and relaxing your nervous system.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'll admit there have been times where like, I've been like training, working out, but I was there physically, but mentally I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, we've all been there. It's just like I am training, I am working out, but am I like giving it my all? Am I going my hardest? Am I having my best workout? There's been a lot of
Mm,
times where I haven't. And then I've had to like stop myself, like, hey, Jared, like you need to be like here in the moment, not on your phone, not checking emails, not checking your smartphone, you're not looking your
yeah.
watch, and just like because that just I feel like incorporates more like stress and anxiety, overall.
I agree. And it's easy just to constantly go into a rabbit hole of just thinking about the same thing over and over again.
Hmm.
'Cause it's like, I think it's 95% of thoughts are repeated every single day. So what you thought about yesterday is what you're going to think about today until you change your environment, which then determines your thoughts, which then determines your behaviors, then determines your actions, right?
So looking ahead, what would you say are like aspirations for the future in terms of like business growth or personal achievements for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's really interesting. I had a prophecy that I was going to speak like in a stadium with like
Mm.
so many people. And then get this. I had they say prophecies come in three, so I'm waiting for my third one. But I had this was like 3 years ago. I had someone like I didn't even know why he booked a call with me. I still don't even know his name to this day. I forgot. But he said like the first thing he ever said was, "Hey Holly, how you going?" Like this guy from the States. Like absolutely don't know why we booked a call. Super random. And he's like, I've never shared this before actually, so this is the first on a podcast.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, and he said, Holly, I had a dream. He's like, I had a dream that you were speaking in a stadium with all these people around you, and I don't know what it was. Anyway, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. Because like a few weeks ago, I had the same kind of like, prophecy. So
And
anyway,
you didn't know this guy.
no clue who he was at all. He just jumped on a call and I had no clue what the intention of the conversation was. And it was just so interesting. And then anyway, so yeah, I've got actually a stadium in front of me. So I will speak on a stadium one day. I just don't know when and what it will be about. And then for me, I want to continue like, speaking. That's I guess why I believe I'm on this earth is to continue spreading joy and happiness and giving people a vision for life. And yeah,
Can't wait to see you achieve that goal.
thank you.
So I wanted to share a quote with you. How
Mm,
you do anything is how you do everything. Do you agree with that quote?
yeah, yeah, 100%, right? If you don't eat well, you eat really crap, is your business thriving the way that you want it to? And some cases, like I have a friend who you know, wasn't eating that great, but she was making lots of money, but she was very unhappy,
Hmm.
right? So would you rather make lots of money and be unhappy or, look after yourself, be happy, and instead of going like this with business growth, be like consistent?
Hmm.
I think it's more so the consistency side of things. So you're not just up and down all the time.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think a lot of people, myself included, sometimes have that self delusion that, I'm not saying it's not all attainable, but, there's give and take, cause and effect, right? Yeah, we can go down that
Mm,
rabbit hole, but that's something I believe in. So that quote
yeah.
that quote I share with you, I tell this to everybody, happens to be one of my favorite quotes. It's something I have
Yeah.
printed in my office, I don't know, like 8 or 9 years ago. It's hanging there in
Wow.
the same spot, even though things have been shifted around over the years. So I'm curious, do you have like a quote that's one of your favorite quotes, maybe that it's somebody famous or something that you created that you wouldn't mind sharing with us or
Yeah. So one of my favorite quotes is I don't know where I heard it or where I got it from, and I think I was like 12 or 13 years old. Still my
wow.
favorite to this day. And I found it really hard to regulate my emotions as a teenager, as everyone does.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
yeah, I guess from what I went through, but it's don't let your emotions overpower your intelligence. Like you are way more intelligent than your emotions, right? And
That's
I
strong.
wrote a piece of yeah, I wrote a piece of content the other day how like, a lot of us are a slave to our own emotions. We switch off our alarm in the morning, go back to sleep because we just felt like we wanted to sleep, or, we didn't feel like going to the gym today, or we just didn't feel like eating healthy, right? We are a slave to our emotions every single day. And it's until we kind of take control,
Mm.
and stop being a slave to ourselves and, you know, create some kind of ownership. Like accountability is not about consequences, it's about ownership. So, how can you take more ownership in your life?
The ability to take ownership lies within us all. And I agree with you. You know, our thoughts, and it happens to me sometimes to this day. You know, our behaviors, our patterns. You know, sometimes we are our worst enemies. Um,
Yeah.
you know, even going along with something you mentioned before during my question. You know, probing here. You know, the amount of thoughts that come into our minds like daily, and we continually think about the same questions, and like that shiny object effect that you keep on like talking about. I fully agree with that. And I think it's something that if we can, try to eliminate as people, especially I guess in this context when it comes to running and operating a business, you're essentially like putting yourself into like almost a hole, if you would, when you do that, right?
Mm.
And I think that's kind of like what you were saying in a nutshell, right? Because if you're, having that shiny object, right? If you're looking at that in this terms of the context of this conversation, when you continuously like wake up and you're like, hey, I have like something going on with this client, and like it's putting you into a hole because you just won't like let it go. And I feel like you could be self-sabotaging yourself, or you could be focusing your energy and efforts somewhere else, is kind of where I was going.
Yeah, I love that. So
Yeah.
true.
So, I mean, Holly, so as far as like, the questions on the pod, that's uh that's a wrap for me on my end. Um
Cool.
yeah, no, I fully enjoyed speaking to you today and having you on the show. I can't thank you enough for stopping by the Fit for Business pod.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so fun, and I'm happy and, yeah, just inspired as well. And like it was fun to share something different that I haven't shared before.